Hello, loved ones. This is Matt Stevens, and I'm having a fantastic day, and I am almost certain you are as well. And, well, I try to skirt around the issue of computer simulation and how this construct that we live in is a computer simulation. Because I know that when people hear that, it conjures up really dark images, such as in the Matrix movies, things like that. But it doesn't really mean that that's how it is, really. I mean, there are some parallels to that, yes, in that. But let's just go with the theory. Let me lay out a theory for you as to how that could be, and also explain a lot of phenomena and things that we see in this. Okay. Well, I still maintain and always will that we exist outside of this. And I do believe that if that were the case, we have voluntarily jacked ourselves into this construct for the purpose of having an experience. And I would also venture go so far as to say that this construct, this realm, is a server or is a particular computer. Okay. So this server is Earth. And there may be millions. I don't know. But we're going to go with this. So this server is Earth. And while it may run a series of simulation or a simulation, which would be for our lifetime, for our purposes, would be a series of lifetimes. So that would explain reincarnations. Okay. So it may be 5 or 10,000 years or whatever the case may be, because there have been resets throughout history. There have been lots of resets, such as the Noah's flood story. And if you believe in the Younger Dryas event, that would be a reset event. There have been lots of reset events. In fact, if you follow the Archaics channel on YouTube, you can find where there are, it's almost as if they're on schedule. Okay. So we would say, all right, a particular simulation begins right here on year 0 or year 1, whatever. And then it's going to run, I don't know, let's say 10,000 years. Okay. So during that 10,000 years, we have certain people who have decided, hey, I'm going to jack into that and live a series of lifetimes. It's like, okay, with the understanding that you gotta stay in there until the end. It's like, okay, fine. At which point we will end the sim. We will reset the server so that we can do it again after this is over. Great. Okay, so here we are. We are living a series of lifetimes. But somewhere along the way, a virus or an AI or some kind of evil entity, some phenomena hijacked the system. And that is why we have so much evil in the world, right? So, and then it goes back to the whole, somebody was like, well, what would be the purpose of hijacking it? If we're going to get out in the end anyway, I mean, it's short-lived, right? It's like, yeah. But if there are levels of consciousness, which we know there are, so if there are higher level beings, then, and they want to keep humanity at a low vibrational state so that they do produce that loosh, that low vibrational energy that we emit when we are in states of fear, anxiety, guilt, worry, shame, all of those things. When we, like I said before, if you think back on the movie Monsters, Inc., when they would go in and they would scare the bejeebus out of these kids, cause them to scream, they would collect the scream, and that was their energy in their realm. Same concept. what loosh is. Loosh, the concept of it is it's a low vibrational energy that we emit when we are in those low vibrational states. And these higher beings use that as some form of sustenance, or maybe they use it to power their control over this construct. And it's like, well, the creator of this construct, if it's on the outside looking in and knows what's going on, would it put a stop to it? Well, no. It's like, well, we're just going to let the sim run out, and then whenever it resets, we'll deal with it then, or we'll wipe it out then. Whatever. Or maybe it's an underlying thing. That part, I don't know, and I'm not going to go into. So here we are living a series of sims, or a series of lifetimes in the sim. And this evil entity has found a way to keep people down so that we don't grow and mature and gain a understanding, so that we stay in a slumber. Now, granted, there are those of us who have become hip to the game, who understand what's happening, and and so therefore we're like, I've identified the enemy, and this is what it is trying to do. And awareness is really the key. Once you become aware of what the issue is and what needs to be done, there you go. The worst part is if you never even know what's going on. Now, most of humanity are unaware, or they just flat won't believe it. Either way, we are individuals. You are an individual. You can, as I've said many times, separate yourself from the herd. There's that herd mentality. And that is where the rest of humanity are being kind of corralled and kept in that low vibrational state and kept in those negative feedback loops. But then when you become aware of that, and you can say, well, I can't fix all of that, but what I can fix is this. So I am going to extract my unit of consciousness from that collective consciousness and elevate myself and have a fantastic life. While I am in here in this sim, I'm going to accomplish what I've come here to accomplish. There may be many, many lifetimes where you were part of that herd, and this just happens to be the one where you have finally awoken. You are finally waking up to what's going on. And so therefore you are now finally spiritually evolving. You're now finally realizing that there is far more to reality than we are aware of. This is when you are finally coming to those understandings, the things that you came here to understand in the first place. And that's like, congratulations. Now, when this sim ends, we can get out of here. But I am kind of on the, I don't know for sure, but I am kind of the belief that those that do not come to those realizations toward the end are most likely going to be cycled back through until they do get it. And I realize it's like, well, Matt, doesn't sound voluntary at all. Maybe that's the trap part. Maybe that's where it was hijacked. Or maybe that was what we agreed to in the beginning. It's like, yeah, well, but if you don't get it in this run of Sims, you're going to run another series. It's like, well, what evidence do we have of this? Well, okay. We do have lots of artifacts. We have evidence of cities buried in the dirt. And it does appear as though they just literally sunk below the earth. As if they sunk below waves. As though they sunk into the ocean. And then there's lots of evidence in the ocean of cities that existed before. No clue where they come from. There are evidence of, fossils, artifacts, all kinds of, even the Mayans. That's a great one, because the Mayans, it's like, where'd they go? There's millions of people unaccounted for. There's no mass graves. It's like, well, they were scattered out around the world. That we're talking millions of people just gone, just disappeared. Where did they go? It would appear as though they were extracted during a reset. That would be a little out there explanation, maybe, but it is an explanation that makes sense. Am I being serious? Yes, I'm being very serious. But since we are having this awakening and we are realizing this, we're realizing I am a soul. I am really a very powerful, immortal creator on the outside. And I understand that by jacking into this sim, there can be lots of pitfalls. There can be lots of traps. But then again, it's like I'm immortal. At some point, I'm going to get it. And the amount of lengths of time don't matter when there is no beginning or end to you. But that's getting a little out there into that. That's not even the point I'm getting at. But the point I'm getting at is, if this were a simulation, this is a server, and anything is possible. We can project into the field life we want to live, the life we want to see reflected back to us via the mirror principle. Another good example is when we sleep, we seem to power down our avatars. This would be the machine. This would be the processor. That would be you connected to the machine through the processor into this realm so that you can be here and interact in it. That's a pretty good analogy. But when you sleep, you power down. And there are a lot of people who will tell you, when I'm asleep, when my body's asleep, my true self is out there in, they say, the astral, or just in the field. And if you've ever noticed when you suddenly wake up in the middle of the night, how, and yes, I understand you're half asleep, okay, but what is half asleep? Maybe that's because your true self has not jacked back into your brain, and your brain is like, I'm going off of memory, going off of programming, going off of everything that it's learned, but your true self is not jacked to it. That's why it feels so strange. You may be a little bit swimmy, a little disoriented. Stumble into the bathroom and go to the bathroom and maybe get a drink of water and go back to bed. And then when you wake up later in the morning, you're fine. It's like, okay, my higher self is jacked back in. And here we go, rebooting for another day. Yes. So this would be your processor for your machine that navigates in this bigger machine, this bigger construct, having an experience, gaining knowledge, gaining wisdom in a series of lifetimes between resets. What is the evidence of the resets? All these lost civilizations, all these cities buried in the dirt, all this evidence of previous sims, but no evidence of people, no evidence of who built it. There's so many sites around the world. It's like, who built that? How did it get buried under a mile of earth and still intact? It's as if the earth turned to liquid and it sunk. As I've said before, any computer geek can tell you that if you take a computer and you do a factory reset, you reboot it, you restore a computer to original settings, it's never really reset. There are always going to be artifacts. You can always find evidence of before the reset. Yeah. I mean, pretty much everybody's heard that. I'm certainly no computer geek. But I've talked to enough people to know that they're like, yeah, if you reset a computer, on the surface, it does appear as though it's completely reset. But anybody who knows what they're doing can dig into that computer and find artifacts, find evidence of previous runs on that computer before it was reset. That would explain a lot of the lost cities and the ruins and all of these things that we cannot explain. All of these legends of dinosaurs and stuff like that. All of these, just everything that we find that cannot be explained. Tools and things like that that date back millions of years. When we know there were no humans here then. Or maybe there were. But not this run, because our run began whenever. It's evidence of previous runs. Evidence of previous sims that have ended. Yeah, it's a fascinating subject. And whether you believe it's a literal computer simulation, whether you believe it's a literal server, it's like, well, that would be a very large, very powerful computer. Yes, it would. It would. It would not be anything that we have today. It would be something far more advanced than anything we have today. However, I have a friend of mine who showed me a picture the other day. And it was a picture from sitting on a horse looking at a mountain range, and there was a little town at the foothills of the mountain range and everything. And it was beautiful. It was a beautiful picture. Then he tells me that's from a video game I'm playing right now. I'm like, wow. I mean, it's amazing how fast we are getting to where we can simulate reality. I mean, we're probably 20 years away from making it indistinguishable? Maybe 15, 20 years away right now from being able to make indistinguishable realities. Where you could literally jack your mind into a VR and it literally be indistinguishable. We're not that far away from that right now. This is not that far-fetched. And it's not, and then people who like, I don't know, man, and because it messes with their religion. Like, look, you're still a soul. You're still an immortal soul. We were still created by a higher being. And I said in a previous video, that would explain Mandela effects. For example, Mandela effect, there is no instance of Mandela effect that has ever been harmful. Weird, yes. Very strange. Mandela effects are like, wow, that is just odd. Weird, strange, all those things, but never anything harmful, which would indicate that our creator on the outside, who's letting the sim run, but also maybe saying, I'm going to throw them a few little breadcrumbs, little clues. Hey, you guys, I'm going to throw you a glitch in the matrix. This ain't, C-3PO's leg was gold. You're right. You're right. But now it's silver, and there's no evidence of it ever being gold. Just for example, there's all kinds of little Mandela effects. I mean, that could be the creator throwing us little clues, causing us to question reality, causing us to question all of this. Because if it's like, shouldn't there at least be one Mandela effect somewhere that is harmful, that causes bad things to happen? Shouldn't there be one where suddenly they did not invent the rudder for airplanes, so therefore when that Mandela effect takes hold, all the airplanes that are in the sky currently fall out or whatever? I don't know. That's just something I made on the fly there. But the point is, there's never been a case of a Mandela effect that was harmful to anyone. Definitely getting your attention. Definitely causing us to question reality. Question the nature of reality. So, dear loved one, that's what I got. If you would, please give me a thumbs up on this video. And for sure, please get in the comments section and let me know what you think. What are your theories? What are your thoughts? And also, you can follow me on X at Matt Stevens, MSA. I would appreciate it if you would. that would be fantastic. And if you have not subscribed to this channel yet, please do so. Anyway, that's what I got. I love you. I really, truly do. And I'll be back directly.